This is part one of at least two parts for a Sony EVS7000 High 8 home VCR with built-in time-based correction and PCM digital sound. This one's got a sound problem. Let's start on this one. I got a Sony EVS7000 in for repair, and it came in with the screws removed like this. The complaint on it is the audio is static and garbly, and was working recently. Video was noisy. First thing we're going to do on this, before I do anything else, I'm going to check the take-up hub, because it is such a common problem on this unit that if it hasn't failed yet, it will. So let's take a look at that hub first before I get into any of the other complaints on this. Looks like they've already removed the screws from the shielding too. Now the hub I'm talking about is the one down here, the take-up hub. And to access that, we have to remove the front cover. So to remove the front cover, there's catches on the side. Release the two catches on the side and at the front. And we actually don't even have to take the front cover off completely, just enough to get at the screw here. So there's a screw right down here that needs to come out. And there's another screw back here that needs to come out. And one more here. There's 4 screws that need to come out to remove the front loading mechanism. And then one more screw back over here. And now we can remove the front loader. So the front loader just lifts out. Okay, now to get to the hub, to inspect it, I have to remove 2 more screws down here and here. And then this cover plate will lift off and release from that screw. And now I can just release the hub like this so that we can do an inspection on it. And this one here is cracked. It hasn't completely failed yet where the gear is broken, but you can see that there's a crack in the edge of the hub. So what we're going to try and do on this one here is we're going to try and repair this hub and prevent the hub from failing completely, because this part is unobtainable these days. So we're going to do it with heat. I'm going to use my soldering iron, and we're going to just try and fuse that plastic over that little crack to prevent it from actually opening up completely. I'm going to put a fine point on my solder iron here, just so that I can work with the smallest amount of area, melt the smallest amount of plastic possible to try and prevent this thing from completely failing. Of course, the first thing to do is to separate the hub from the gear assembly, just pulling it apart. And I'm going to try and reform this plastic right where the crack is. This is to prevent it from continuing to split, because of course this takes torque. This is a limiter clutch. How it works is this hub itself having a magnet on it. You can see that this has got a crack in it too right here. You see the base here is also cracked. See that? So this plastic is very brittle. But what the job of the limiter is it allows the gear to rotate at a faster speed than the tape itself, and this provides the limited torque to the tape. So let's touch this up and see whether I can fix it, make it any better, make it any stronger than it is. So I'm just going to take my soldering iron here, and I'm going to try and just fuse a bit of the plastic together, just so that it doesn't open up. This is just to give it a little extra strength. And the same as on this side over here. On this side up here, I'm going to try and fuse this bit together. And of course, staying away from the teeth. I don't want to damage the teeth. But hopefully that is going to be enough to keep this one running a little while longer. Because this part, unfortunately, is no longer available and hasn't been available for a long, long time. Now that I've got the hub back together, I didn't do anything with this piece here because that's not so critical, that one. The one that's the critical one is the crack here, which I've now, using my iron, been able to just fuse that together. So hopefully that's going to last a long time, because once this thing breaks, once the gear breaks, it'll start eating tapes. So hopefully we've saved this one from future problems, because as I say, that part is not available. So I'm going to release this as a separate video standalone, and we'll get into this machine here a little bit shortly. But I wanted just to get this little quick fix, and we'll test it out here. I'll put a tape in it and test it. But the actual repair of the machine is going to be a separate video, I think, because this could be one that is quite involved. So put those two screws in, and then reattach the spring. Replace the cassette housing assembly. And finally, just snap the front panel back into place, just like that. Okay, let's test this thing out quickly, make sure that the gear's working, and then we'll get on to servicing the problem with the sound on this machine once I verify that the tape transport is going to work properly. Let's first of all check it out and just see if it even works. Well, they say it's got distorted sound, but let's find out. Oh yes, the sound is very bad. This is a different mechanism than mine. Because mine, I can flip that. It's interesting to note that this tape that I'm playing does have PCM sound, because I recorded this on my EVS7000. So there is PCM sound, and I'm not getting the PCM sound. It's almost like there's an alignment problem, but normally when you'd have an alignment problem that it would affect the sound, it's going to affect the picture as well. Put the scope on. I'm just going to take a look at the RF from the head amplifier and just take a look at my envelope and see if the envelope is okay. Okay, I'm going to look at the waveform here. Waveform here looks to be a little bit off. If we look at the entrance side guide. I don't have my scope triggered. That's why it's drifting. Camera's in the way. Camera's in my way where I'm trying to get my hand. Holy smoke. We have sound. This was easy. This was just a tape path alignment. Just off, ever so slightly off on the entrance side. Looks like the exit side is just a tad off too. And my PCM has come back. I said this was easy, right? That I spoke too soon, because even though I do have my PCM soundtrack, I still don't have the FM soundtrack. And this is going to prove to be a most difficult troubleshooting and repair. So I'm going to leave the video here. Side guide there. Just bring that up a little bit higher. And we'll pick that up in the next one. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And sound has returned. I'm pretty happy with that. That's looking excellent. And as you can see, if I show you guys the picture, we have a picture, we have sound. That's the PCM track that's playing there. Let's go to the AFM. Oh, the AFM track still has a problem. So the alignment was causing the PCM soundtrack to cut out and switch over to AFM. But as you can hear, the FM soundtrack is still noisy. Whoa, that's really loud for a rewind. Something's not right with this mechanism. Rewind kind of sounds a bit sluggish on this thing. We're going to call it a day on this one right now, because this is going to be a much more involved repair. At this point, I don't even know whether it will be repairable, because I have to do some research and find out where all that noise is coming from. What I have noted is that the noise on the FM track is louder if the control panel display is like the control panel is on a drawer that slides out. When I retract the drawer, which goes underneath, listen to the sound change. Watch. So that's quite interesting, the fact that that noise level increases when the tape compartment or when the control panel is closed. Almost like the vacuum fluorescent display, the multiplexed circuit that operates the VFD is getting into the sound. But we'll have to investigate that, and that'll be for a future video. So stay tuned for part 2, and we'll pick this up as soon as I have any more info on this unit. Thanks for watching.